Everything, 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 everything is bullshit. It's bullshit. It came out of a bull. It landed on the ground. It grew a little mushroom. And then a hairy eighth man, he put it in his mouth. He started having thoughts, all kinds of ideas. Grew himself a little ego, invented a new language. But then he built a tower, designed a system of power. You know, I read it in the paper. He made a tiny computer that fits inside your hand. Communicate across the planet. Look back into the cosmos. Post a picture for your Facebook. Make a profile on your Snapchat. Murder people from a distance. And laugh at videos of cats. Everything, 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 everything is bullshit. It's bullshit. Oh, everything, 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 everything is bullshit. Everything is bullshit. It's just a bunch of funny bullshit.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing on this fine July 10th, 2024? I hope everybody's doing well. So tonight is kind of a little bit of a chill stream in a way. I don't know. A lot of things on my mind with the direction of the country, where we're going, things being said, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And it's not just this country. I don't know if anybody pays attention to world politics, but they just had an election in France, if you pay attention to that. And the left has gotten back in. So there's a lot of shenanigans from what I understood. Marie Le Pen, though, her party, I think they brought in like 44% of the vote, something like that, something way larger than they ever had gone before. So people are waking up to these things. They also had a vote in England, and Nigel Farage with his Reform Party is now in Parliament. However, they do have, I forget the name of the left side in the UK. They have the left has taken is we call it the Prime Minister. He's big time lefty, so things are going to continue at a pace there with everything that's going on. I don't know if you guys ever watch any of the videos coming out of Europe, but it's bad here, yes, but in Europe, because of their smaller places and a lot of people live in cities as opposed to the countrysides, you're getting a lot of quote unquote migrants living in these cities, and basically just they have taken over. They're loitering around, just sitting around and standing around the streets, and crime is at all-time highs in literally every major European country. Spain is now getting invaded hardcore, and they want it. These stupid lefties, they have this, it's been going on for a few years now, but they're yelling at tourists to go home, and at the same time they're saying, oh, refugees are welcome. So yeah, that'll work out really well for you, because you're driving away the people who are giving you money, and bringing in people who just take and commit crimes and don't assimilate to your country, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Much in the same way that things are going here with, the southern border just fucking wide the fuck open. So, and speaking of the southern border, I think we need to talk about somebody. I think we need to talk about this person right here. Not a lot of people are talking about this person. A lot of people are talking about, Joe and, maybe Gavin Newsom and all this stuff. But meanwhile, this diversity hire has slept her way all the way up into the second spot. And nobody's really talking about it in depth of just how bad this person is and just how unqualified this person is. So if you don't know about good old Heels Up Harris here, she basically, it was mentioned, I bring this up too because on Pop Show yesterday, I think his buddy Pete had wrote in a chat and said, like, oh, she's unqualified to be president. That is untrue. She is a natural born citizen, and there isn't anything that precludes her from becoming the president. I believe, because I think there's a what do you call it, like a theory that because her parents weren't citizens at the time, that she can't be, but she was born in California, allegedly. So she could become president. She might, very well could be president right now. Either that or Jill is the president, because it's definitely not Biden, and it hasn't been Biden probably for half or all of this administration that we are all suffering through. So back on this woman. So her history is, so she was born in California. She lived there for several years with her mother and father. I believe they got divorced. Then she moved with her mother to Canada, and she lived like a relatively decent life. She wasn't like living in the ghetto and all these kinds of things. Like she was living like going to private schools and whatnot. And then she went back to California. She flunked the bar. Don't know if you know that. And then she got hooked up with good old Willie Brown, who basically put her in positions that she had absolutely no business in being in. I believe she started out in some kind of, it was like a healthcare thing he pointed her to, making ridiculous amounts of money that she didn't have the qualifications for. And then he moved her into something else and to something else, and she rubbed elbows with this person and that person, and then Willie Brown's wife basically was allowing it to happen. Like she was basically, the other woman in the relationship. And Willie Brown was married to this woman, and the wife let the affairs happen until it got to the point where it was getting in the news that people were finding that they knew that Kamala and Willie Brown were together. And that's when the wife like put her foot down. So Willie Brown had to kick Kamala to the curb, and then Kamala like basically, disassociated herself with Willie Brown, even though Willie Brown had brought her up into these levels of service that she had no business in being in, all the way up to being I believe she was the DA for San Francisco. And then as soon as she got that job, she went right into campaigning for the DA for all of California. And then she got hooked up with Obama, and then Obama carried her right into, people were saying at the time, back in 2015, 16, whatever it was, that, she's the next Obama, dear God. And now here we are. This woman has like no qualifications to be president. So, and she's next in line. So I know you guys aren't, but if they elect Biden, this is going to be our president if it isn't already. And as you see, things are going terribly. So it's not going to get much better under this person. So it just kind of reminds you of how important it is that Biden doesn't get elected, because it's just I'm besides myself on how inept this whole administration is, all these government workers, just right down the line. So let me remove this cackling twat off my screen. See what you guys are saying, what you're up to. And then, you know what? While I do that, I'm going to put in the invite. And if you guys want to jump in, and I'm going to put it right in the chat. And, fuck. Uh-oh. I made myself full screen so I can't even see the chat. Okay. Yeah, I had a boomer moment for a sec. All right. I'm putting it in the chat, and then I'll show it. All right. So if any of you guys want to jump in, go ahead and jump in. We're just going to kind of bullshit tonight. Let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat. Who wants a hooker in the White House? I mean, she's basically, she prostituted her whole self out for her 20s and 30s. So, I mean, she literally has no qualifications. I'm telling you, if you look into her past, you'll be shocked that this person has become the second in line. It's amazing. And then somebody pointed it out in the press, because now the press is flipping out, right? The press is like, oh shit, we've been covering up for Biden for all this time, right? They're carrying water for him, they're protecting him, and then he just went out there and kind of exposed himself to the entire world as to where he is mentally. Somebody was saying, I saw a doctor was saying that they believe he has Parkinson's. So like he's apparently showing all the signs of Parkinson's disease. So there you go. I mean, so besides potentially, losing his mental faculties, he might have Parkinson's as well. So there you go. Let's see. Loving the world being run by grandparents. Yeah. I mean, these people are completely out of touch. And if you have grandparents or parents who are in their 70s, 80s, whatever, I mean, would you want them running the country? I don't think so. Like, older people generally don't even know how to run a goddamn computer correctly. Like they have trouble working, Excel and Windows and Word and these people like Nancy Pelosi, who's in her 80s, and Joe Biden, who's in his 80s, are fucking running the country. How crazy is this? Oh my God. I had a coworker who, speaking of Pelosi, who was telling me he was because he watches old shows just like me now. I don't even watch the new stuff. So he was watching what was it? The Streets of San Francisco. And that's a show from the early 70s with Michael Douglas. And he saw something and he had to back it up and he stopped. And there was in the background, there was a campaign sign for Nancy Pelosi. And this episode was like 1973. So these people, they just don't go away. Once they get power, they just hold on to it forever. Forever. Longer than most of us have been alive. Let's see. She's been in a lot of different positions. Yes, this is true. You gotta wonder, like, how, is she any good for all these people to prop her up and hold her? She must be able to chrome off a fucking bumper. What we got? What's up, Nate? How you doing?
Oh, me, just living the dream. What about you?
Nightmares and dreams too. So
that's right. Have I been proven wrong on that yet?
Not yet. Today was especially nightmarish for me at work. I had lots of problems caused by other people, but
yeah,
dug through them, and now I'm work from home for the rest of the week.
Yeah, well, you want a little bit of a laugh?
Sure.
I think I kind of threw a monkey wrench in someone's day today.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. I applied for a job a couple months back. Different line of work, and the chick from HR was kind of snooty, kind of snotty, and they had a little small office. You can tell it was an old bank building with the way that the building was laid out inside. They didn't really do much. They were too lazy to do anything. Never heard anything back. Called, left messages, emailed, never heard anything. And I was in the neighborhood, and a buddy of mine who's diabetic, about a month ago, gave me these 2 big bags of sugar-free hard candy. Mm-hmm. And my buddy said he can't eat them because they give him horrible gas. So I was in the air, so I had them I have a little electric cooler in my truck. It's like a little refrigerator, keeps things cold. So I just had them in there, and I'm like, I was up for work, a work project not too far away from this office. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't heard back from this lady. I'm like, I'm going to go in, be the nice guy, and drop off a bag of candy.
Oh, no.
So I went in there, and the girl at the front desk said, hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. I said, yeah. I said, I was in here about a month ago. I said, I told I was going to hear back about a, third stage interview, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, yeah, well, we already filled the position, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you know what? You ladies have been so nice. I was in the area. I figured I'd check that. And you had this nice candy dish on your desk. Figured I'd bring you some nice sugar-free hard candies. So you ladies have a wonderful week. And I left it on the desk and walked out. So figure an office full of women, they're more than sugar-free. God only knows they're probably diving into that thing, with both hands. And they're probably having some horrible rot gut right about now.
Oh yeah, that stuff will clean you up. Here's a quick funny story. Yeah, I don't particularly like to tell because it's kind of evil, but
right up my alley.
I was young, so I was in what grade was it? 7th, I think. I think it was 7th grade, and I had this problem with this fucking kid. His name was Brad. Fucking this kid was like just torqued up asshole, and we were in gym class. And it was we were playing soccer, and we lost the match. He was like on my team, and he blamed me. And I'm like, dude, we're all on a team. I don't know how you're blaming me for this loss, but and he fucking punched me in the face. So I fucking ran after him, and he went to the teacher, and I couldn't fucking lay one on him. So the next day, now my mother had things in her medical closet, and to help alleviate move things along. Let's just say, as they, women tend to have those kinds of problems. I guess my mom had those problems anyway. So she had these ones that looked like they were like little square. They look like chiclets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went and I bought a box of chiclets, and I put 2 of those up right up front, right? And this is the next day, homeroom. I'm like, Brad, I'm sorry that all happened. No hard feelings. How about a chiclet, bud? Okay. I shook out one of the X-Lax, I believe this is what's called, into his hand and throws it in his mouth. And away I walked. He's chomping on it. And then the bell rang and he turned back and he was sat up a couple seats from me. He's like, I kind of tasted funny. So we go through homeroom, was short, and then we go to the first. He was in every fucking class of mine, of course. So I go to first class, and literally within, I want to say 10 minutes, his hand was up. And the teacher didn't want to hear. I remember this teacher didn't want to hear any of this bullshit because first class, you shouldn't be having to go to the bathroom. You should have done that before you even got to class. So first, I gotta go to the bathroom. The teacher's like, you just sit there. He sat for another couple minutes, and then hand went up. I gotta go. And the teacher's like, no, you can't go. And he got up and he ran out of the room. and the whole class, he was gone. And I'm like, uh-oh. All right. The bell rang. He left his books. He didn't return. He was gone. Next period, he's not there. Next period, not there. I'm like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. So then I get home from school and, nothing. I'm quiet. I went right to my room. And then my dad got a call from his parents. Now, I told my dad about this fucking kid, and I told him what had happened in the gym class and whatnot. So he knew, what went down. But he didn't know that I went in the cabinet and got my retribution. So his parents called, bitching at my dad. We were in the hospital. We didn't. Your son gave our son something, and he can't stop going to the bathroom. He's been going to the bathroom all day, and we didn't know what was wrong with him. We took him to the hospital, and they said he had some kind of X-Lax or something to make his bowels move. So my dad was like, well, he got what he deserved, and didn't he? And he hung up the fucking phone. So there's my story about people pooping themselves.
Yeah, I did that to a kid in high school. He was a complete jackwagon to everybody, and his birthday came up, and we made a quote unquote chocolate cake of the X-Lax chocolate variety.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, that was that was during the 2-a-day football practice time. 2-3 weeks before the school year started. Dude didn't talk to any of us the rest of the year. None of over 25 years, none of us have ever heard a single word back from him.
Well, here's just to finish it, kind of come back around. It's because you didn't hear from him again. So this kid, he came in he was gone for 3 days. He was out of school. So the fourth day he comes back, and I don't even remember where we were, but we were in a study hall, and the fucking kid comes up to me and he pulls out a knife, what do you call it? What do you call those knives? The utility Swiss Army knife. Okay. And I'm like, as soon as he pulls this, he's like, you gave me something. And I'm like, hello, teacher, this kid has a fucking knife. And they're like, Brad, get up here. And took his knife, and they're like, you're never getting this back. He's like, that's my knife. My grandfather gave that to me for my birthday. So he lost his fucking knife. That fucking kid. And that was it. I was done with, we never fucking crossed paths ever. I mean, we were in the same classes, but it was kind of like a Newman situation. But we never even went to as far as saying hello to each other. Anyway, that's just one revenge. That was probably my worst one, though. Not my proudest moment. Anyway, So we got MGTOW Outlaw.
Yo,
what's going on?
What's going on?
How you doing?
Nothing much, brother. Just enjoying the evening.
Cool.
Heck yeah.
So what do you guys think about the direction we're going in? Are you concerned? Like, where do you think we're heading? Because there's one, I want to say there's one part of me that's kind of like, well, maybe nothing will happen. Like maybe it just, the whole thing will play out and, we'll get Trump and, there'll be some shit that'll go down, but maybe it'll all just kind of pan out. And, kind of like how politics just does this ebb and flow all the time.
Yeah.
And then
It'll
there's
all pan out at the last minute.
Yeah. Or, just kind of fizzle down, settle down.
Yeah.
I keep telling everybody personally, voting will not fix it. We are well past the point of voting our way out of this. We have a tyrannical, out of control government right now that needs to be dealt with. And no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you doing your part to, I guess, minimize the damage. Get off the grid as much as you can. Nate, we talk about it all the time. Grow your own food, your own water supply. Just get out of the way of this as much as you can because this government is way out of control.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just keeps expanding and expanding. And I saw something today like that the stupid administration signed with Moderna, I think it was, to get a whole bunch of bird flu vaxes. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck are they planning? It's almost
over
like,
in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, it's like almost every day you're hearing this shit that's like, what's next? What's going to happen now? What's this going on?
Mm-hmm.
Although there, in some ways, it feels like a little tampered down a bit, like in regards, like that stupid month that we just had, the Pride Month, seemed to be less. There wasn't like as many stories and as much craziness as it seemed to be in past years. And I wonder if they're kind of tamping down that shit to like, so the normies don't think that we're the fucking wheels are off.
Well, Billy, it's like I did on that NASCAR video. These companies at the end of the day, these corporations, at the end of the day, they can push this political PC, politically correct nonsense all they want to. But at the end of the day, when these people start costing them money and the bottom dollar starts getting affected with all these stupid motherfuckers that they hire that don't know what they're doing, start costing them real money. That's the flip side of it that people don't talk about, right? They get rid of these people no matter what genitalia or skin color that they are. It goes out the window when money starts coming into play. So I kind of believe that this has already been around long enough that it's costing these corporations money to put this bullshit out there. I mean, you've seen what happened with Bud Light. You see what happens with all these companies now that do this. They're getting they're going broke.
Yeah,
they're learning.
I don't know if you know that Tractor Supply, they had this whole DEI initiative, and they basically, because the customers said, what the fuck are you doing? Not only did they get rid of all their initiatives, but they've got rid of the whole department. I believe there was a whole DEI department. They're just, and that's, nothing for nothing. That's the way it used to be, as far as you didn't go to the store to hear fucking politics or the message, right? I just want a product, right? That's going to work. That I don't have to fucking go buy, multiples of, or, I just want a product that's going to do the job it's supposed to do. I don't want the fucking, all the bullshit that, is swirling around in the political sphere. And I really think the fucking I hate to say it, I hate to put you millennials down. I think the millennial generation has really, that is their thing, is, this whole like victimhood generation. I don't know, you're part of it, as far as your age range, Outlaw. But
I was born in 88, so I don't know where that puts me on the
Solidly millennial.
Yeah, you're solidly
Yeah.
okay. Well, you know what? They get really mad when we start saying it's the millennials. We have Gen Z, we have Gen X. Why don't we just call them Gen V for victim?
Yeah.
Well, what's really
They're
scary.
they're the perpetual victim constantly.
Yeah.
What's really scary is the shit coming up behind it. Not the Z's. The Z's are kind of going the other direction, so they say.
Yeah.
It's the alpha generation, the ones behind them.
Yeah.
So they're the kids who are I think that it's from 2010 to current is Gen Alpha. They say these little fuckers are complete fucking mental cases.
Oh yeah.
I was watching this thing where they were discussing Gen Alphas, like what they like to watch. And there's this one program, I forget, it's something like toilet. It's something to do with toilets, but it's this really kind of weird animation. And it's constantly changing, like every 2 seconds or 3 seconds, it changed, like the screen like changes to some different view. And it's this constant overstimulation. And anything I've watched about teachers dealing with these kids in school, it sounds like a complete fucking clusterfuck, this generation coming up.
Oh yeah.
So,
Well, you figure they've been Gen Alphas basically had tablets, streaming services, everything thrown in front of them, and everything in front of them has been, they'll do a 1 or 2 minute segment of a show or something, a cartoon or whatever it is, and then they break it with a cartoon, then they break it with another cartoon, then it's minute and a half, and they break it with another cartoon. These people have been trained to have a very, very, very short attention span and a very short train of thought and way of thinking.
Yeah.
They've pretty much been conditioned into that type of mindset, which is why all the platforms are 45 seconds or less, 60 seconds or less, because the vast majority of the growing demographic and generation, they don't have an attention span that'll last longer than 90 seconds.
That's a problem. I mean, that's crazy.
It is. Yeah. It truly is.
It really is. Well, we've seen that effect in well, I'm a big NASCAR, or used to be. The races are now getting shorter. You're seeing the effect of that everywhere now. They're watering down, dumbing down the products now to
everything
be more reactionary within 2 or 3 seconds. It's crazy.
Well, NASCAR was kind of doing a thing, I remember several years ago, where they were getting kind of like soap opera-ish, and I was like, what is this shit? That's
drama.
That's when I bounced around that time, after that, and after Dale Earnhardt bit it, and good old Richard Petty he retired, and now he's gone I think he's gone woke. So in any case,
I think every bit of it has. I mean, NFL, MLB, NHL, I think it's all went woke.
Well, people just want to watch sports. They don't want to tune in to watch people kneeling for the flag, or kneeling during the national anthem, or having this other national anthem played that, it's almost like there's two countries we're living in, right? You got the normal fucking country that we all grew up in, right? With the stars and stripes and all that. And then you got this other country within our country where they have that stupid flag. They got a different anthem. It's almost like Bizarro World within the same country.
Well, they promote anything that divides, right? I mean, what is our country's name? United States. So if you can get people away from, quoting the American flag and the national anthem and all that, which unites people because it's a common ideal, and get people to hate it and hate one another,
I think you're absolutely
Easy.
right. I think
Yeah,
you're
it's easy to see.
absolutely right. I mean, think of like all the like I grew up with things like there was the 4-H, there was the Lions Club, there was
Yep.
all these different associations, Knights of Columbus, and I mean these things are still around, but they don't like people aren't joining them like they used to.
Not
Like,
in the
people-
cities or in the suburbs.
Well, the Boy Scouts.
Well, maybe out in the country, yes. Well, the country is, thank God we have the country. If we didn't have the country, we wouldn't have a country. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Um,
Boy Scouts. I mean, look, that was something that actually taught young boys something valuable, and now they hijacked it and turned it into something that it was never meant to be.
Yeah, I mean now it's what they just call it the Scouts, and now you have girls in there. I mean, don't the girls have the Girl Scouts? Why do we need girls in the Boy Scouts? It's I don't understand it. It's these gender swapping things that it seem to be happening, with the men getting weaker and the women getting at least trying to present themselves as more masculine and stronger.
That's been going on. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just say the whole quote unquote social acceptance of the gender fluidity and everything has been going on for they've been trying to push it for at least 25 years. That like there's plenty of evidence out there showing that this stuff is something that they've been strongly advocating and pushing. If you look at the way society has gone, I mean, 25 years ago, a chick I was dating, she used to watch the show Will and Grace, where early 2000s, like she would stop, like she would watch like Seinfeld, Friends, and she would stop and watch this show. And I'm like, what the hell's the big deal with that? Why are you watching the? Who cares? Go do something else. It's the drama and the BS game. And they started pushing that, and then they started making, more and more, the whole Ellen when she came out, and that all that was all going on. It's like, okay, why don't you just focus on, real life problems for the 90% of the population versus the 10% or less of the population? I mean, focus on, real world problems that everybody can relate to, not just one small slice of a society. I mean, they've been pushing this stuff, more than the past 5 to 10 years. Unfortunately, most people haven't realized this until the last 5 to 10 years. It's like there's so many people that are so late to the party, and they're just realizing this, and they're like, hey, do you see what they're putting on TV? It's like, they've been doing this for well over 2 decades, dude.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, case in point, look at Klinger and MASH.
Yeah.
Well, see, I thought that that to me was as a joke with him trying to get out of the army. I didn't really equate it to, okay, he's a cross-dresser. I mean, I was a kid, so I saw the world as more of a rose-colored glasses kind of place as opposed to, but that's the problem is, when you're a child, you think of the world as being this nice place. And it's only when you get older and you really start learning about all the fucked up things is when you lose your innocence.
Well, getting back to the whole man and woman dynamic, I use this analogy. In science, we have magnets, right? Opposites attract. Male, female, obviously being the opposites attracting. If you look at what's going on with women trying to be as unattractive as they can be, more masculine, right? And men nowadays trying to be more feminine and more whatever you want to call it. If you look at it in terms of scientific magnets, it's like you're seeing the magnets repel one another, right? You guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like they're doing it intentionally, encouraging it to help with this whole agenda, in my opinion. But that's just a theory that I've had for a long time. It's like a scientific set of magnets. Now they flipped the what is it, the poles. So now they're
Polarity.
repelling one another, kind of keeping the birth rates down and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Hey, Ike, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
I was trying to get you in there to a proper introduction, but
Because
It's all
if you
good.
look, Billy, if you look, attractiveness with women is shot down everywhere in the culture.
yeah. I saw this video. There's this guy on my feed. I'm not even sub to him, but he's pretty good. And he showed this one where it was like a bunch of chicks. I guess they were CrossFit chicks, and they were all jacked up. And I was like, that's not attractive. I'm sorry. They all looked like manly. And it was one after the other, one after the other.
So
And then
if
you look
men
at-
and women, I'm
Good.
sorry, go ahead.
No, good.
Oh no, I was just going to say, so if men and women can't find each other attractive, and they eventually repel one another to the point to where you start seeing it on a national scale or whatnot, in a way, it's like it's making humans sterile, is it not?
Yeah. Well, there's this whole, we're below replacement birth weight, birth numbers. I'd like to have a good discussion for a moment about that, because to me, I'm like, and the problem is what? What's the problem with that? I mean, to me, okay, they want to talk about the environment and overcrowding and all this stuff. So if we're dipping down, isn't that a good thing?
It should be for them, shouldn't it? Like
Right?
at one point, they were talking about we don't have enough space to sustain the numbers that we're doing. However, the reason that our birth rates are down is because they're pushing this LGBTQ agenda.
Well, yeah, I think this current generation is something like 20% or something. I mean, it's something ridiculous. Where every other generation was like 0.5%, 1% of the population. This current generation is like off the charts.
What was it? Didn't they do not a study, but like a poll? And it's like 1 in 4 kids in school today identify as the alphabet community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's to me, they're going along to get along, right? So if that's the current thing,
Yes, the trend.
it's the
Yeah,
When I
trend.
was- when I was in middle school, the trend was playing Pokemon cards, not pretending that you're a fucking girl.
Right? I mean, if you pretended you were a girl, there was a guy. Okay, real quick side story. There was a guy in my class who was a flaming flamer, and he was the only one. And one of my friends broke into his locker and took a big steaming poop in one of his shoes. One of his shoes. Wait, it gets better. And then the next day, because he was like Mr. fucking what's his name, Rogers, like he changed his shoes when he get into school. So he put his foot into a big steamy pile of poop.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
But that was like normal. That was like, haha, you figure it.
We need to.
Anyway,
We need
sorry.
to allow. We need to bring bullying back to schools. Like that's just hands down what we got to do.
I
Yes.
see a negative effect of it though, Billy, because if you keep dwindling the population down to the point to where they can be easily overridden by the powers that be that'll be still in control of things, how will they ever have a chance to fight back if they don't have the numbers? But then again, I'm just spitballing.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when they start going on with that stuff, I look at it as like, well, they just need the systems to be held up, right? All these programs that need us to fund them, right? And if we're not there to fund them, then it all fucking collapses. But it's all going to collapse anyway, the way it's going with them bringing in all these people who don't contribute. So
Hopefully
then
the
why
thing
bring
that-
in the people, right?
Hopefully, the thing they passed today is going to fix that.
What did they
They
pass
passed-
today?
They passed the SAVE Act. It was 221 to 198 for it to pass, and that is it requires proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. Only 5 Democrats voted nay on it. Think about that.
So wait a minute. Okay. I knew there was something going on with the elections I knew they put a bill up. So you said that passed?
It's a House bill, and it passed 221 to 198. All but
Okay.
5 Democrats voted nay on it.
Well, there's.
So five-
Go ahead, Ike.
No. I was almost done. Go ahead.
No, finish.
Well, that to me said, like, why would you vote nay on that? Like, what would be the reason other than you are counting on people who aren't allowed to fucking vote to vote?
They literally opened the floodgates to our border, to our southern border, and they're allowing all these people in. And the main reason they're doing that, this is all theory here. Like the YouTube, this is not fact. This is theory. We're not saying that this is actually what's happening. The theory is they need all these people to come in so they can win the next election because Joe Biden needs to be the most voted for president in history again.
I don't know if that's happening. I'm the whole Democratic machine has been turning on him. Even like top people are saying we're not going to donate to the campaign anymore. We think this is done. We need to find a replace. That's why I started out with Kamala, because I think they're re-examining. Okay, what's our chances with her? And she's terrible. Like, nobody likes her.
Yeah, she's impossible. Even prominent liberal Rob Reiner is saying Biden needs to step down, and that guy's a fucking shitbag.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, nobody's on board with this anymore. So now what are they going to do? Which concerns me as far as the lengths in which they will go to hold on to those levers of power. That's why I'm not traveling after August. I'm not traveling anymore.
I know this is your thing, but I wanted to hear what Nate had to say about the bill and everything.
I'm not aligned with any party. I'm pretty much very independent thinker. Both parties are corrupt and crooked, in my humble opinion. What could realistically and theoretically be done is the Speaker of the House could bring a bill to the floor in the House and say any district that is claiming to be a sanctuary district and is not doing voter ID, those districts are void until they can prove election integrity. So
I was listening to a podcast. I think it might have been Tim Pool, and they were like, "What we need to do is go away from mail-in ballots or ballot drops. We need to have in-person voting, cameras in the thing that can verify how many people went into each one of those booths, not what they voted for, who they voted for, that they went in there. And then if the amount of ballots that come out of that precinct don't match the amount of people that went in there, they do a recount."
Yeah.
There's actually a very simple, I thought this through. I have a few friends that work in the Secret Service, and we've been kind of talking about this for at least a decade. Would you guys say the Secret Service is probably the best anti-counterfeit agency in the United States?
Yeah, aren't they the ones in charge of money?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Now, would you say the IRS is probably the best in tracking tax-paying individuals and residents of the United States?
Oh yeah. Guys.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So on April 15th, when you file your taxes, you check a box if you would like to mail in your either congressional or presidential ballot as a taxpayer. If you choose to do that, if you want to have a mail-in, what would happen is your mail-in will be sent to you certified mail that you would have to sign for, which would be a federal document. So if you forge that signature, you would be committing a federal crime. Then that ballot would have a return address to the local regional Secret Service office within the state or within the region. Those would then be taken, checked to make sure that the envelope is actually sealed, that it's a proper secured envelope that has not been tampered with. Then that Secret Service office hands it over to the state militia, National Guard, whatever each state calls it, and those mail-in ballots should be stored within the armory under lock and key. not allowing, under 24-hour surveillance where residents of the state can go in, log in, and quite literally view a camera looking at the pallet full of ballots. Up to that point, would there be a way of manipulating the mail-in ballot situation?
I don't think there should be mail-in ballots.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
that
No,
whole
yeah.
thing was only supposed to be because we're in this big pandemic and people can't come out because they might catch the fucking COVID. That's
No,
done. We're over that.
They have done mail-in ballots prior to that. Active duty service members.
Well, yeah, they had absentee ballots. Yes, I get that.
In my state, I vote. The first time I voted, that was George W. Bush. The second time, it was a mail-in ballot. So I've been voting by mail my entire life.
Yeah, it's been going on for quite a while. I do know of plenty of people over the age of 80 that are pretty much homebound seniors. They do not leave their home, and that's how they vote. They fill in. They request a mail-in ballot. They do it for mayor, for city council. They've been doing it that way for at least a decade. This has been going on far longer than the 2020 shenanigans.
Yeah, but not to the level of the degree. And the problem with the older people, real quick. The problem with the older people is that you can do ballot harvesting, which gets done. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ike.
Oh, well, there was one time I voted. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been when Obama was running the second time. I think I voted for the Libertarian candidate that time because I hated both of them. But I got a letter in the mail about a week after the election saying my vote didn't count because my signature didn't match. I thought that was a little sketchy.
No. In my opinion, this, and again, I'm just spitballing. To me, this is how I see fixing elections, right? Or fixing it to where you can't cheat in voting anymore. Take the total number of people that vote during these elections, right? So I'll use the example of, say, 100 people vote for something. Why can all 100 people not know how the other 99 voted?
I'm not sure.
What I
don't understand.
What I mean by that is, why can't everyone that votes know how each other voted?
They want it to remain anonymous for, they don't want any retribution, or they don't want any public coercion, or they don't want any pressure. That's why voting remains anonymous. But see, with the mail-in ballots, like I talked about, going out, being checked by the IRS to confirm you want to mail in, you sign it because it stays in federal custody until it gets to the taxpayer. It then goes into federal custody at the post office, and if it does not pass the signature check, if it doesn't pass everything, if it's not filled out properly, the letter carriers should not transport it. Well, if it doesn't meet, can I finish?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Because if all the steps are not finished, just like if you put something in the mailbox, you don't put a stamp on it. If you do not follow the steps on the mail-in ballot, that thing is basically garbage. It gets tossed. And then you get a notification in the mail, you didn't fill out your ballot properly. If you want to vote, your choice is to go and vote in person. So at that point in time, every one of those mail-in ballots should be serialized so they know how many and what ballots went where to what address. So they know what's going on. So any attempt in counterfeiting would be caught. Then it goes to the Secret Service to be authenticated on the exterior. Then it goes to the commander of the State National Guard, put it in the armory, and it comes out 72 hours prior, all of it under video surveillance on a website for the state, where anybody can watch it 24/7. Everything is being put through for the mail-in ballots themselves. Anyone caught attempting to manipulate that system, and when they do the voting machine, when they run the ballots to the voting machine to count the mail-ins, you have one person Republican, one person Democrat, representing the two candidates that are running in that state, the two chief candidates running, and both of them look at it, concur, send it through the machine, and it is all live on a streaming feed. You have that available. That answers and solves your mail-in ballot problem. anyone caught manipulating the federal mail-in ballot system, no questions asked, do not pass go, do not collect $200. It's a $250,000 fine and 5 years in federal prison. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Well, those are all good ideas,
Mhm.
but to have the government carry all those out, I highly doubt they would put those kind of, because
That's what I'm saying.
I like the serialization. That's a good idea. That's
Mhm.
definitely a good idea. I think that's a great place to start. That all these are, you don't have duplicate ballots out there, and if there does
Right.
come back a duplicate, but it's automatically, it not only does it get rid of the duplicate one, but the original one too. Sorry, it's just
Right.
the way it
Yeah.
works, right?
It's a pipe dream. All of this done by the same government that runs the DMV. Just going to say that much.
I know.
I know. I mean, the only other way to do it, to include as many, legal of age people to vote, would be do it the way we did in Iraq. What was it, in 04, 05, where they literally had police and or state or local militias go door to door and let people vote, and they had to dip their finger and touch the candidate that they wanted. So if you voted, you had the like purplish red finger. You guys remember those photographs?
Oh,
Yeah,
I think
But then does that get too? Are we getting too authoritarian? Going door to door, I don't know if I'd be comfortable with that, to be honest.
Well, okay, we can do it. We can allow some mail-ins because there are limited people that have limited mobility that can request a ballot. I'm not saying you mail out ballots to every single mailing address. If you have somebody that requests it on their taxes, then you know exactly who it's going to. Every ballot should be serialized, and you keep a track record of serial numbers that go to each specific precinct for voting. If all of a sudden they do not match, that entire district void.
But here's the problem too: is that you have to do this on a state by state basis.
You do it on a city by city basis.
No, but what I'm saying is you would have to implement this via the state legislative body, because that's where the rules are set, as far as I know.
Not on a federal election.
So
FEC, Federal Election Commission.
okay.
See, I like.
But then how did like states like Pennsylvania and Michigan and all that get away with running them the way they were running them?
Well, a lot of those states have when they do federal elections, they also do state elections on the same ballots. So it's quite literally down ballot. Like you have president, and then you pick your governor, your state attorney general, and the federal. In order to just be simple and easy, they just tag the federal along with the state elections. There isn't any standard or standardization form for federal elections specifically. You would have to actually establish federal elections specific.
Mm-hmm.
It would just,
oh, I'm sorry, Billy. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, any way you do it, it's got to be clear and concise, because the problem is that no matter who wins on either side, the other side isn't going to accept it. That's like the point we're at now, right?
Right.
So I don't know how you get past that.
Well, like I said, Billy, and the only way I could see is if everybody knew who each other was voting for. But then again, we've been unanimous in our voting so long.
Well,
St. Louis Arch makes
retribution.
Sorry, go ahead. But
No, go
St.
ahead.
Louis Arch makes a good point here. The states set their own rules. We don't have any actual federal elections. They're all local elections that just affect something that federally. So when you vote in the federal election for president of the United States, you're not doing a giant election for the United States. You're voting in an election that's happening stateside, and that affects where the delegates for our state and the Electoral College put their votes towards. And so we don't actually have federal elections, period, ever in this country.
No.
because of that.
Right. Yeah, that's
And that's
what-
why each state has their own election laws and how people vote. Some states still have in-person voting only, and other states have both in-person and mail-in.
It's definitely an interesting conundrum.
Let's welcome in MGTOW Mando. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Sorry I'm late.
Yeah, no worries.
Not exactly the subject matter I was expecting to walk into, but I'm glad to walk into it anyway. Can I
I'm going to
offer
have to check
a-
out here in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Can I offer just a little our thought process on this?
Sure.
Kind of like what was just being said. I'm not exactly a fan of mail-in voting, unless you're somebody who legitimately is incapable of getting to the polling place. I'm of the opinion that when you cast your ballot, you need to be there in person the day of. A lot of people complain that, well, it takes all day to vote.
I don't care. I agree with you 100%.
Well,
And-
hang.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm gonna- you get around that by setting that particular day as a paid holiday for that particular state, or because some of these elections, such as for the president, should really be their own thing. You have November, the first Tuesday in November, that's the presidential election. And then either a week or two before or a week or two after, you have another election just for the local candidates and state level candidates, to include Congress and Senate.
Right. Well, the problem with that is that when you have a big election like a presidential election, you get more of a turnout. So generally, people who are running for different offices, they want to be on that same ticket that a big candidate is on, so that they get swept up into it.
Which is part of the reason why I'm saying split it into 2 separate days.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't get as big a turnout. So you would.
He's got a point.
And the problem is these are the people who are voting for, once they get into office, they're the ones who are bringing these bills to the floor. They wouldn't bring a bill like that to the floor because it puts them at a disadvantage, is what I'm trying.
Well, I'm Billy.
Yeah.
The other problem with this is it would take a constitutional amendment to get that to actually be done. I'm well aware of the limitations with the idea that I just floated to you.
Hmm.
The other thing, though, that I'm going to point out that would be an overall advantage to this, you're actually getting the people that are serious about voting actually going there for Congress, Senate, and whatnot.
Do you want my crazy opinion on
Fire
that?
away.
This is what I believe. Besides, like, some of the other things that have been discussed as far as land ownership and pay your taxes and all that, I think you also need to be able to take some kind of qualifying test to allow you to vote.
There used to be they used to do that.
Yeah, whatever the test may be, a test on the current candidates, a test on laws in general, like just a general knowledge, some kind of test that says, okay, you're not a stupid fucking idiot who is just pushing knobs.
You're basically asking for something I've jokingly suggested for years.
Yeah.
I've jokingly said that people should have to pass an IQ test to be able to vote.
I don't see why not. I don't see why not. And so real quick, go ahead.
And my passing of an IQ test would be a really low bar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it needs to be crazy, like in depth. Just kind of like a 10-question multiple choice.
Well, or just 10 question true or false.
Sure. Either
Because
way, some kind of test
multiple
that
choice
kind of says, you know what? No, try next time.
Well, the thing is, multiple choice, you can guess right.
Yeah, this is, well, if you make it like, 4 choices, that kind of you'd have to be really dumb, or just really lucky.
Did you ever watch the Starship Troopers movie?
Yeah, of
I
course.
love that movie.
You remember right at the beginning of the movie, Johnny's getting that psychic screening thing being done, and his buddy essentially says, statistically speaking, you should have guessed right by now.
Yeah, sure.
That's basically what would happen on this particular type of scenario.
I just think there should be some qualifiers, not just here you go. You live in this general area, and go ahead and vote. And people don't even know the implications of the things they vote on.
See, what I would love to see, which kind of ties into what you're saying, is because I'm somebody who actually, at the bare minimum, does research on the candidates that I'm going to be looking at.
Right? I mean,
you go in, and before you're given a ballot, before you even get to the polling station, you're given not a question, or kind of a questionnaire thing that says, who are these individuals and what position are they running for?
Yeah.
That way you demonstrate that you have been paying attention.
Yep.
And leave the big names off. Like for where I'm at in Southern Missouri, John Ashcroft and Josh Hawley wouldn't be on that questionnaire because it's known who those two are going to be running for.
Well, I don't even have a problem putting big names on there. I think you should just show some kind of aptitude of what exactly you're doing, which a lot of people don't seem to know. And I wanted to bring this point back up because Sun and Chrome said, and how about voter ID for in-person voting? 100%. Years ago, I pulled out my driver's license when I went to vote. I was like, oh, here you go. And the woman got pissed off at me that I was showing her my ID. And I was like, what's the problem? She's like, you don't need to show me that. We have you on file. And I'm like, yeah, but I could pretend.
How do you know?
How do you know? She's like, well, we have your signature. I'm like, yeah, but couldn't that be forged?
Or if you're somebody with crappy penmanship like myself, whose signature never looks the same twice.
I mean,
yep, that one.
I just don't understand. But now we're at the level where now they're giving people in these sanctuary cities, they're giving them licenses and IDs. So, how the fuck does that work? I don't understand how you could be here illegally and they give you a license. How does that fucking work?
I think it says on their license for some states, if you're not an American citizen, you have the license, but it indicates that you're not a citizen of the United States on that license.
I think that's only the case for people who are truckers who go between Canada and the United States and Mexico and the United States.
No. They're giving them illegal people who cross the border illegally. They're giving them licenses in Massachusetts and shit.
I was literally just addressing what Ike was saying now.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. But here in Oregon, I don't know if it's Oregon, but there was one state where if you got or renewed your driver's license, they automatically signed you up to vote. They automatically registered you to vote. I'm not sure if it was Oregon or another state, but there were plenty of people that weren't in this country of legal means that got added to that and got ballots.
Mm-hmm.
That's not right.
Agreed.
But nobody's stopping it. That's the problem. Nobody is sincerely trying to do anything of any means to stop it.
The problem is people who are bringing it up are being called racist.
Yeah, it's racist to talk about the brown people.
Well, even so, I mean, okay. You guys have seen when they pull somebody up in front of one of these congressional hearings or something, right? Yep. And they'll sit there and they'll get these sound clips and there's the senator or the congressman grilling this person and making them look bad and everything. And then what happens with it? Nothing. It just disappears. Whatever that sound clip, whatever that fucking hearing was about, nothing ever fucking comes of it. Nothing ever gets done. It's just all fucking like dog and pony shows.
That is how
Mhm.
corrupt this tyrannical system is.
I agree. I fucking agree.
That is how
um,
corrupt these people are.
Just real quick, Crusader Nate mentioned something earlier that he wanted to talk about in-person voting ID, and now that he's back, I think it'd be a good time for him to chime in.
All right. You guys got the mail-in ballot. I think that was the only way I could think of not locking that down. Now, when it comes time to do mail-in or in-person voting, what you in this is just my humble opinion, what you would have to do is provide a legal form verifying you are a local resident. Something as simple as a state fishing license, a state hunting license, a federally issued license of some form that is required for you to actually alter if you move, along with a photo ID, and or you can come in with a passport and your photo ID. You can come in with a drone license and your ID. You can come in with a concealed carry permit and your ID. You have something to verify you are who you say you are. You have more than just one piece of content to verify you are who you say you are. And at that point in time, you can get in to do the voting. You have to have something that can prove that you are a resident for at least 90 days prior to having to vote. So that way everybody who's going in to vote had amateur radio license, drone license, concealed carry license. They have something corroborating their state IDs. Because you can go, if you're above the age of, I think, 25 or 30, you can go to Arizona and get an Arizona driver's license that won't expire until you're 65.
Wow.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
wait, so you don't need to be a resident of Arizona you can get a license there?
You can go to Arizona, open a PO box in Arizona, get one piece of mail to the PO box. Say you moved into a place, out in the country, out in the sticks. You use a PO box. You go to the Arizona DMV. You can actually get an Arizona state driver's license to that PO box as your mailing address. You need to have it for, I think, 60 to 90 days or more. You do that. You open the PO box. You go about your normal life. You prove you have mail going to that address. You list that PO box as your mailing address. You go down to the Arizona DMV. You can get an Arizona license, and you don't have to have it renewed until I believe it's 65 or 70.
Are you sure they can use a PO box? Because I looked into.
I know guys that have done it, that are Native Americans that technically live on a reservation. They're Navajo, and technically living on a Navajo address on a reservation, they're not allowed to vote. However, they've done that. They've served in the military, so they use that PO box in order to have their ID in order to go and vote. That's how I know it's done. I know guys that have done it.
But
This
that
is
much,
not a how-to. This is not
Yeah.
a how-to at all.
right? No. But
No.
that must be the only state, because I've heard
It is.
of other states that you have to have an actual physical address and mail going to it. This is to prevent, okay, now I want to become a resident of South Dakota and not pay income tax. Well, no, you can't do that with a PO box.
Yeah. Allegedly, there are some individuals that I know that live in states where they have emission testing for large cities. But if you go and you register a vehicle to a PO box, you would have to have it confirmed to your driver's license to that same PO box. And if that PO box is in a rural area, you can register your vehicle there, and then you do not have to do the safety and emission testing because it's a rural vehicle, allegedly.
Yep. I know somebody that out here that moved in moved in with their friend that lived out in a county that didn't have any DEQ, and he didn't have to put his car through DEQ to renew it.
Well, they used to have up until last year, they had what was called the Vermont loophole, which allowed you to register a vehicle without a title, as long as you did a bunch of form, and you didn't have to be a resident of the state either. So a lot of people who had lost titles, and this, that, and the other thing, they would go through Vermont to get a registration, and then take that registration and then go get it titled in their own state. But the state got so overwhelmed that they had to close the loophole. So it's no more. I think you have to show that you have some kind of tie to Vermont now to be able to pull it off. So you might have to have
That wouldn't surprise me.
an address, but you can still live in a different state. So I'm sure there's ways of getting around it, but that's for another show.
Right. Theoretically.
Yes. But I didn't know that Arizona, you can get it.
Yeah.
So, that's interesting.
Yeah, I got a buddy. He was born and raised Navajo and grew up on a reservation in southern Utah. And there wasn't anything around him for school or anything like that. So he wound up going down to Arizona. And when he was in college, he got a scholarship to go to college. When he was in college, he had he had somebody approach him, the whole, fun times with the War on Terror. Yep, the Dear Sarge right there. Yeah, valid until 65, yeah. Yeah, you just have to, every 10, 15 years, you freshen up the photo. But yeah, I knew a guy that he wound up doing that. He from a reservation in southern Utah, went down to Arizona, got his license down there because he wanted to vote because he was serving. And he since died, but I mean, that's quite literally how he did it. I mean, I don't know how it's done now, but there may be changes in it. And the guy that I knew that did it, he died over a decade ago. So,
Well,
that's a lot of guys got around it.
Trump Thumper says, "Well, that's how they turned Arizona blue." Maybe, I don't know. I think Arizona turning blue was because a lot of people left California to places like Arizona and Texas and Tennessee. And they're basically spreading out through the entire country, ruining everywhere they go.
Yep.
Because they take their fucking politics with them, which is a problem. It's like, we already fucking ruined our own state. Let's go to other states and ruin theirs.
That's exactly what they're doing up here to Oregon.
Really? Well, I mean, wasn't Oregon, at least the Portland area, hasn't that been pretty lefty for a long time now?
It's gotten a lot worse in the last decade and a half, lot worse.
And that's from California people moving in,
Well,
or just the
mostly,
natural? Yeah.
But they're doing the same thing to Texas and a bunch of other states too.
Well-
We have the mass exodus from California right now.
Yeah.
They're dealing with that in western Wyoming.
I just want to say hello to Sean St. George dropping in.
Sean.
How are you?
What's up, Sean?
I would like to point something out real quick. There has been some effective pushback against people bringing their politics with them in some states.
Mhm.
And there's also been a survey where a lot of the folks that are leaving a lot of these more left-leaning states are the individuals who really don't support those policies anyway. And they're either A, leaving because they can afford to, or B, leaving before they can no longer afford to. If it makes sense the way I said that.
Seraphim, I think he's from Denmark. He says, at least you guys still have your 2A to defend the first, unlike Europe and many other. But yeah. Europe is fucked. I mean,
Yep.
I've been watching
still
lots
have
of videos lately from shit going on. Well, the elections that had just passed over there, and just the state of things in general, with basically the third world has invaded Europe, and Europe is falling hard. So, and you guys have nothing over there to defend yourselves at all. And I believe that's why things haven't gotten as bad here, is because there's still the heart of the country that ain't going to fucking let that happen. If you know what I mean.
We still outnumber these people
Oh yeah.
as far as being
For now.
gunned. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we still have
Surfing.
more firearms than people by a long stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah, Drubius. Yeah, exactly. He's from Alabama too.
Surfing lives in the Swiss Alps. Cool.
Ooh, nice.
Yo-dee-do-dee-do. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. I just think of The Price is Right. Remember where they had the yodeler and you had to stop them before you fell off the cliff.
Fortunately, and I could be wrong because again, you guys may know better than me in your own areas, but I don't see very many stupid gun owners in this country. Now, I know that's a loaded statement.
Well, go to
Because
Chicago, although they're not legal.
I was just fixing to say the gun owners that knows what's going on, that's preparing for it. And
Owner or possessor? Big difference there, Billy.
Yeah.
The person who owns the gun versus the person
Yeah.
who possesses the gun.
yeah,
Okay, so Edwin says, doesn't Swiss law require all houses to be armed? I'm not sure. We'll have to defer to Senator.
I'm pretty sure the answer to that one is yes, because technically speaking, the French military, or not French, the Swiss military and the Swiss civilian population are equal.
Huh.
Because technically speaking, from whatever the age of majority is in Switzerland until you hit a certain age, you are considered to be part of the Swiss National Guard. Don't 100% quote me on that. That is information from 2006. They may
Kind
have
of
changed
similar.
between now and then.
Kind of
Well,
similar to Israel's deal where everybody is conscripted at the age of adulthood.
Well,
Or
from-
Estonia.
the thing
No,
is,
I
from
didn't
what I
know Estonia did
understand,
it too.
from what I understand, most European countries have some form of mandatory service that they have to go
Mhm.
through after they complete their primary education.
I don't think that's a bad thing, to be honest.
Neither do I.
No. Military taught me a whole lot. Gave me
Yeah.
a work ethic I never probably would have instilled in myself if I would have remained a civilian. Got to play with some really nice big boy toys that were really fun. And there is a huge difference leaving the military world and coming back to the civilian world when it comes to professionalism. And as bad
Yes.
as we talk about our experiences in the Army, they pale in comparison to what I've seen as a civilian in the workforce.
Corporate land compared to the military
Oh, yeah.
is
Oh.
such a massive culture shock that you almost need to go and work for some menial company for a couple of years before going into a good company, just so that way you can unlearn some of the military habits that'll annoy your leadership.
Oh, yeah. They say, oh, we like military people. You get into the job, stop doing military things. It's
Mhm.
like,
Well, what would be
what are you doing?
an example of this?
Okay, a good example on my
Um,
end. Whenever I take time off, I try to make it a point to let my immediate supervisor know, my manager know, and at least one person to back me up know in case something needs to be taken care of that day when I'm going to be out.
Yeah. Redundancy.
One thing I experienced was showing up 15 minutes early, because if you're not 15 minutes early in the military, you're late.
You're late.
Yep.
And I've seen that mostly with interviews, they really frown upon that kind of thing. But yeah, I would be at my desk getting ready for work 15 minutes ahead of time of clock in. And they'd be like, nope, stop doing that, because if you are actually preparing for work, you need to be on the clock.
Uh huh.
I'm like, Oh, okay.
That's
In the
actually
military, you're used to being a salaried person at 24 cents an hour.
honestly, Sean, that's another thing I had to unlearn. Basically, getting my stuff either preset before I got started for the day, or having it set up to go before I left at the end of the day or the end of the week.
I do know that some employers didn't like how I documented everything, because we got like these little green record books. We call them the leader books.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep track of my daily tasks, what happened with them. Is it complete? Yes. If it's not, why? And that way, if the question ever comes up, hey, guess what? I got a document that says, hey, I've done XYZ. We're running into problems here with this because of XYZ. The rest of these items are done. Oh, by the way, there are a couple of logs in here with some negative interactions with either customers or employees that gets logged. They don't like somebody else being capable of being able to hold them accountable, because if they do a screw up at work,
They like to sweep it under the rug.
yes.
Well, so for me, my documentation is I hold on to every single email, and my email server, my IT, they'll yell. They've had to increase my storage size because I have my email going back all the way to when I first
That's
started,
perfect.
19 years. So I have something. I think it's something to the tune of like 73,000 emails, and it's all searchable. So I just put in like a keyword, brings up everything.
Oh,
Everything.
here's one that me and my manager go round and round about on an almost monthly basis. I work in environmental compliance, which is a subsection of global compliance and risk management. We have policies in place for everything we're supposed to do. At least once a month, I'm being told, we can't enforce that policy. I'm like, you wrote it.
Excuse me.
You're the one that wrote this policy, and you're telling me not to enforce it.
Well, even with companies like yours, I'm pretty sure they're bound to never to delete communications because it could be subpoenaed.
Yeah,
Or
we're not going
regulatory enforcement.
Yeah, we're not going into details on the stream, Sean.
Yeah, no problem.
But what essentially what it is we have a policy that says a customer can ask for X until they're blue in the face, but we only give them up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm constantly being told, no, give them X. I'm like, no, we're not. That's not what is in black and white on your own policy.
You know what's crazy? People who use their work equipment for non-work things. We had a guy, a coworker, who he got canned. So they cracked open his email box because we needed important stuff that he was in communication with different vendors and whatnot. So we had access to his entire email system.
Mm-hmm.
And we found out that he was having an affair with somebody within the company, and like they were texting back and forth, or emailing back and forth, and it was like, oh no, what did I just read?
Okay, you're gonna laugh. You guys are gonna laugh at this. You remember back when Ashley Madison had their hack?
Oh God,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Sean, do
Yep.
you remember the percentage of senior officers and NCOs that got roped up in that?
I do not.
It was
What year was
somewhere.
that?
Say again.
What period was that? Like rough year?
Oh God, I want to say that.
05 to 10, roughly.
Yeah. Well, I know Pop did a video on Ashley Madison around 2018.
Yeah, I was still lower enlisted at the time, and deployed constantly. So
Okay,
it probably went over my head.
It says here, I just looked it up, July 2015.
Okay.
I was wrong.
Oh, I was out.
Well, at that time, I was a trading room NCO. I had to do a sweep with S6 of all company email boxes.
Uh-oh.
Just take a guess how many came up with AM in their inbox in some way, shape, or form.
With a thank you for registering with this site using your AKO email.
Yeah.
About 40%.
God.
Oh, no.
Crusader. Come on now, man. You can't be
I was being
you can't be that cynical about the military. By the way, it's higher.
I was trying to be nice for the general public. Okay, fine, 90%.
It wasn't quite that high. It was somewhere in the neighborhood of 70% of the senior NCOs.
Jeez.
Dear God, why? That's how you lose your entire career. You could be chaptered out for things like that.
I'm aware of this, but the problem is it has to be actually enforced.
So are they. But yeah, you're right. It has to be enforced, and senior leadership is a good old boys club, and they defend each other to tooth and, or what is it, bone and tooth, whatever the saying is.
Tooth and nail. I
Tooth and
usually
nail.
say tooth and claw, but same
But,
difference.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good.
I was gonna say, unless you're in that club, you don't matter whatsoever. You are a resource to be abused until you're either out or dead.
Well, now, you want to know what got even more messed up? JAG had to get involved.
Yeah.
See, I don't
Well, yeah,
understand
because
why.
it's illegal to have an affair in the military.
It is, but here's where JAG had to get involved. They had to explain to the sergeant major why. Oh, by the way, he was on that list. Why they would have to bring in an outside set of agents to do this investigation, to do it properly. And that got quietly shuffled under the carpet.
Of course.
I can imagine.
But I don't understand why anybody would jeopardize their. I mean, you're talking about military careers. You know, it's the same on, you know, in the regular corporate world too. I had a coworker. I mean, let's forget the one that I was just mentioning before. I had another coworker. He was literally sleeping with 3 other women at my work, and one of them was the CEO's assistant. And it gets worse. And he shows me one day on his company phone, he's like, check this out. He's texting her and she's sending him nude pictures on the company phones. So like she's using her company phone to send him on his company phone nude pictures.
No.
And I'm like, bro, like you never shit where you fucking eat. Like you need to stop this. This is going to blow up in your face. And eventually did. He didn't listen to me, and they didn't ask him to leave, but they made it very uncomfortable for him to the point where he was like, I am out. And he had worked there for like 20 years. So I don't know why you'd want to jeopardize your career like that.
Well,
You can't see it right now. I'm face palming so hard.
Yeah. I gotta bounce. I gotta get ready for a stream that starts in half an hour.
Thanks for
See you,
coming.
All right. See you later, Ike.
See you guys.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Ike's show. He does these wrestling streams every month, and I just got crowned king of the Serious Podcast Wrestling Federation. Not to brag or anything, but it's a lot of fun. And MGTOW Outlaw is over there with Jimmy Bones, and they're the announcers, and I think all you guys are in it, like as wrestlers. It's a lot of fun. Go check it out. He puts on good streams. I don't know why his channel isn't blowing up like it should, but definitely go check out Ike's show, which sounds like it'll be in a half an hour from now. So right after mine, go check out Ike's. He does fun shows. So serious podcast. So all right, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. Well, Mando and Sean, when I did research, I had my personal computer on one side and I had my work computer in front of me. Every day, I started a Word document and I cataloged date, time, who I talked to, what I talked to them about. I did an annotated bibliography day by day by day. What I worked on, what sources I gathered, who I emailed, who emailed me. I kept track of my exact hours of when I worked, when I didn't, phone calls, everything that I did, and I kept all of that on my personal computer in a separate Word document every single day. And they had no idea I had this record. And when I took screenshots, I took photographs of my screen on my personal phone, as well as taking screenshots and emailing them to myself. And when they decided to like call it quits on everything, when 2020 hit, they basically jettisoned everybody, and they tried to shortchange me on my vacation, my PTO, and they tried to say that I wasn't doing this, that, or the other thing, or they're trying to make up every possible reason not to pay out. But then when I actually started bringing up everything, I said, have your IT guys follow this log. Here's my log of what I did and when. And I'm like, if you want to, cut me, I'm like, fine. I said, counting on, what was it? I was basically going to sue them for, unlawful termination. And I had a catalog. I said, because I remember telling my manager, I'm like, look, I said, you want to play hardball with me? I said, fine. I said, here's a copy of a document that I've kept of every single day I've worked for you. If we're going to do this, I'm going to sue the company and I'm going to go after and say, you're going to make these false accusations against me of what I did and what I didn't do. I want to go, I'll take you right to court and I will subpoena your IT records and compare them to my logs. And they changed their tune in a hurry.
Okay.
Yeah, when they realized that they were in the wrong and now they're caught.
Yep.
Crusader, kind of on a similar vein. This is something I did in the Army, and I started doing it on active duty, and I continued in the reserves when they had me as a platoon sergeant. I would keep what was known as a DA 200. And what that is, it's basically a hand receipt for any document that you give to somebody. Because amazingly enough, the Army has this habit of losing paperwork.
Shocker.
And then they expect the soldier to jump through hoops to find it again.
Yep.
Well, somehow my platoon kept having paperwork disappear. Everything from the personal data sheets that soldiers are supposed to fill in every 6 months with all of their familial records and whatnot, to one soldier who was requesting a transfer for somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.5 years. And it never got past the unit.
So where is that paperwork? So where's the breakdown in the paperwork being lost? Is it somebody within?
It can vary from place to place, but in that particular hospital unit, it was because the training room NCO was a female. The first sergeant was a female. The commander and the XO were both female. And they could not keep qualified people in the unit. Everyone who was there was either trying to get out of the unit or get out of the military. And I was trying to get soldiers awards, transfers. One guy was trying to get to a school to get his MOS qualification done. And I submitted the paperwork 3 times. One time I actually hand walked it up to the battalion level person, and it still disappeared. At which point, I just tell the commander at the next training meeting, the soldier's paperwork keeps disappearing. From now on, when I submit anything, it's going to have a DA 200. And if someone in your office signs that and it still disappears, it's not on the soldier to find that or to find that paperwork and redo it for you. It's on you to figure out where it went.
There was a recruiter that came to my high school. Not my high school, it was middle school. And the biggest thing he told me that I took with me when I got in was when anytime the military gives you a document, you make 5 copies.
Mm-hmm.
And you have like one, like you have an I Love Me book and you have another full copy of it that is in a flame protected safe.
I actually went above and beyond on that one. I kept a copy in a safe, and I sent a copy of all of my important documents to my mom in one city and my dad in another city.
But so why do you think? I just don't understand why anybody would trust the government. Because here you guys are talking about basically the incompetence of government programs. Government, it's the military, but still, it's government run, right?
In theory.
But
Yeah.
They're still ran by people who can either be flawed, not actually qualified because they met a quota and that was the best person they had in the applicant pool at the time. Government jobs are also another, boys club, or club membership only type. You pretty much have to get, it's either you're starting at the lowest of low positions, but if you want to get something a little higher than that, you got to know who's in the department. Because I've had people when I got out, they emailed me and said, "Hey, I want you to apply for these positions because we want you back here." And I'm like, "Fairbanks? No, thank you." I turned down. You can't do it that way. You're not supposed to do it that way. The way they did it was technically illegal because you can't have somebody in mind for the job, put the ad out, which is only on USA Gov or usajobs.gov. And you could get a preference, but when they're kind of they're saying, you do this, you go through the process, we're going to coach you through it. It's fraud.
Yeah. Technically, it falls into fraud, waste, and abuse.
Mm-hmm.
But here, when I left Fort Irwin, my last active duty assignment, I handpicked who was going to be my replacement in the training room because I ran a training room at that duty station. About a month after my terminal leave ended, I get a phone call from Fort Irwin. I'm thinking, oh, great. Would they screw up that I need to try to remember how to fix? A totally different person is on the other end of the line. And I'm like, wait a minute, where's Sergeant so-and-so? Oh, First Sergeant replaced him because he wasn't doing the job the way First Sergeant wanted. Like, okay, why are you calling me?
There's that kind of stuff too.
I mean,
but it's people in government. Like we do people in S1, which is kind of like military's HR department.
Pretty much.
We do that if they had beef with somebody on the line, leave.
Oh, that person would never get advanced.
Yeah, leave packets would go away. Promotion packets would be deliberately screwed up. Like I said, it is kind of a good old boys club when we start talking about higher level hierarchies, because you got like your company level, which is like basic bare bones army level. And then, but every company belongs to a battalion, and in battalion, that's where you have the S shops, and then you go to brigade level, you got the G shops that do the same thing, but at a higher level, dealing with more people.
Well, hang on, Sean. Let's break this down a little bit for those people who weren't military.
Mhm.
You have your squad, which is in corporate land roughly equivalent to your cubicle mates. You're all theoretically doing the same job at the same level. You'll have a supervisor there who's a little bit better, or a little bit more well-rounded, or been with the company a little bit longer. Then you have your platoon, which is everyone that does your particular job in that particular area.
Mhm.
Then after the platoon is your company. That can be roughly equated to a department at most corporations. In
Yes.
theory, you all do something that's kind of related, even if it's not exactly the same job. Then after your department, then this is where it starts to break down depending on where you're working at. Because if you're in retail, it goes up to your store level. If you're in a corporate entity, it depends on how big the corporation is. But that's kind of the way it moves, roughly speaking.
See, the problem that I see with government work is that it's near impossible to get somebody removed from a position.
That's because of the bureaucracy that's been built up.
See, but that's not right, because look, on the regular side of things, corporate land or factories or any kind of job, if you got somebody, a worker who sucks, which in the past I've dealt with people who they never get it. They weren't good. And I was kind of, I see all nice and happy when it comes to work. Like, I want competence. And if you're incompetent, I'm blowing you out. I'm not even going to fuck around. Like, you're out.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Fire you. I'm going to fire you. If you're incompetent, I'm going to send you packing. I'm not going to, I'm going to give you chances, right? But if you're never improving, if I don't see improvement and I tell you I need to see improvement and I don't see improvement, you're gone. That's it. Go work for somebody else. Fuck the fuck off. And I'll start again with somebody new. It doesn't seem to work that way in government position.
No, it doesn't. You fail up in the
No.
government.
Well,
Yeah.
going back to where we began with Kamala Harris.
No, I saw it happen in the military too. I
Oh.
saw very bad NCOs and officers, instead of holding them accountable, what they did is they said, okay, this is not your job anymore. We're going to put you in what's called special projects, which is, we don't know what the fuck to do with you, but you're on our roster and we got to maintain you somehow. So they'll do like stupid bullshit until they get reassigned, and then you realize they get reassigned to a higher level in the military.
Well, and Sean, to tag on that, oftentimes it's depending on who or what type of unit you're in and how administratively strapped they are, they won't get rid of somebody because they need the metrics. Because a dirty little secret in the military is that a commander, they get an annual report card, just like a lot of other people in the world do. It's just like your corporate evaluation that you're supposed to get every year at your job. But for NCOs and officers, it's called the OER or NCOER, respectively. And if you're a commander and 1 year you had 150 soldiers that you were commanding, and the next year you're down to 125, that's seen as a bad mark because you no longer have the same number of people. So that incentivizes folks to keep individuals that are, well, to put it politely, bloody morons.
Yeah, I've seen NCOERs because I've had to write them a couple times for other non-commissioned officers, like 3 or 4 pay grades above me. And I have to use a lot of word salad to make a piece of shit look good on paper.
Yep, I had to do the same dadgum thing. It's absolutely infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
There's one guy that I had to clean up an NCOER for, and you're gonna love this, Billy.
Yes.
This individual was caught with a female shortly out of basic E2
Oh,
in a
no.
very compromising scenario.
Mhm.
I had to write up his NCOER in such a way where it did not imply that he was, how do I say this, YouTube friendly? Engaging in relations with a subordinate who was not only married, but 20 years his junior.
Okay.
And
Well,
because
we know that.
because,
Go ahead.
well, because the commander wanted this guy to get a decent NCOER for his final NCOER because he was being retired out. I basically said he was engaging in coitus by assisting with direct inspection of all soldiers' operational equipment in a meaningful fashion.
Oh, That's
Sean,
good.
you know exactly what he
That's
was
good.
doing from that description.
yeah, I know. Yes, well, we all know what happens. It's
And-
very unprofessional, especially for what is expected out of us in the military.
And the thing is, when I wrote that up, the sergeant major kicked it back, saying that it was too wordy.
Yeah, they like to see clear-cut bullet points, but I mean, you're being literally ordered to cover for to cover somebody's improprieties.
Yeah.
And of course, that should be on his NCOER if they took action, but sounds like they did no paperwork on him, no chapter,
Nope,
or not
they-
chapter, but no UCMJ, of
Nope,
which he
they-
should have gotten UCMJ.
Yep, they swept this under the rug so thoroughly that Kamala Harris wouldn't be able to find it while she's looking for her next promotion.
But I'm bump.
Oh, you mean suck it out?
Which
Pretty
could,
much.
which could be the highest office in the land. But thankfully, she can't suck her way quite into that one.
Oh dear God, Cliff.
She would have.
Comment
do
from Cliff.
What's happened? What's the matter?
Second to the last. I've seen that as a joke.
You are done good.
I've seen that as a joke on NCOERs. If that ever came across me, it would have been like, are you kidding me? Are you joking with me? And if he said that was on the certified record, because NCOERs, they get digitally signed and put into record. But a sergeant major takes a look at that, he is going to, well, let's say an honest one. They're going to flip their shit.
Okay, Sean. I once saw on an NCOER that came across my desk that I had to proofread. This NCO should go far. The sooner he starts, the better.
That's a good one. That's
Jay
one
has
that
joined
promote above peers.
Actually, that's what he ended up getting.
What's going on, Jay? How are you? Come in, Jay.
Uh-oh.
Jay?
I'm good.
Oh, there you are. How are you?
Cool. We
Good.
got
Good to
you.
see you. Oh, wait. What? I got no audio. Great.
We
Yeah.
We
I-
can hear
we can hear you.
Nope. Happy to see everybody in the chat. Discussion's great tonight.
Oh, good. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it.
Just here to offer input. Another voice.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna shut it down soon because I like to just keep it at about 2 hours, and we're almost there. So, but that's all right.
Mhm.
So, what do you got for us? What do you got to add? besides dead air.
Yeah.
Well, he was saying something about audio problems. I wonder if
Yeah.
he's not hearing what we're
Oh.
saying.
Hearing lots of
Probably.
robotnik going on.
Yeah. You know what'll do that is the full screen thing that you got going on. That'll cause roboting.
Oh, I'm
Because
hearing it
that's
from
a,
everybody now.
Uh-oh.
Mm.
Well, while we wait for Jay, Edwin had brought up Nikki Lauda. I'm not sure why. The fire.
I'm not sure who that even is.
So Nikki, I'm actually a big fan of Nikki Lauda. So Nikki Lauda drove for Ferrari during the 70s. And he got burned in a bad fiery crash. But that guy, let me tell you, hell of a driver, very driven. He was Austrian. Believe it or not, he is. So I'm not like a fanboy. I don't collect lots of things, but I do have a few autographs. So I have his autograph. I have Michael Schumacher's autograph. I have
Oh, nice.
Richard Petty's and a couple other guys. So
Ooh,
yeah.
nice.
So he's definitely in one of my favorites because he just, let me tell you, that guy. You know what? Maybe I'll put up the movie for this weekend. A few years ago, they did. It was basically the story of Lauda and the dude for McLaren, and it was a pretty decent movie. So maybe I'll put that up this weekend. I'm going to make a note of that.
So Billy, I assume that the period at the weekend that's the anniversary for when this happened. You try not to listen to the song "We Didn't Start the Fire."
Oh my God.
So
Mando with the dad joke.
Yeah.
Well,
as
no,
far as
I admit that one was a terrible joke and it was probably in bad taste. I apologize.
You kind
So
of
as
crashed
far
and
as-
burned on that one.
Oh man.
so as far as NASCAR goes, I've got Bobby Allison's
Yeah, it is what it is, right?
autograph.
I have.
I thought I heard you there for a second.
So you have Bobby Allison. Yeah, I remember he drove the Thunderbird, the Miller High Life Thunderbird.
Yep, in fact, not to dox myself, let's just say that I'm closer to Bobby and Davey than people think.
Okay, cool.
Davey Allison, it was Clifford Allison, his son's autograph, and then some other guys. But anyway,
James Hunt, yes, James Hunt. That was the McLaren guy. It was the 74, 75, 76 F1 season, as basically chronicled in the movie. So
Closest I've ever been to anything resembling an actual A-list celebrity or the equivalent of that was when I got a photo with Sergeant Major of the Army Jack Tilley.
Jack
As
Ayrton
a private.
Senna. Ayrton Senna.
Yeah, Senna. He died. I want to say Argentine. He was Argentinian, right? And he died Monaco. I want to say. I think it was Monaco. He
Man,
died
that
in
guy-
one of the races.
That guy was magic behind the wheel of an F1 car.
Yes. Yep. Anyway, so Jay never came back, did he?
I thought I heard him say something and then it got quiet again.
Yeah.
He's been trying to.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, Mando.
Oh no, I'm still here. It's just
Oh.
like in and out.
Wait, come on, Crusader. Where were you on that?
Well, I don't know.
That's what you
I thought I
guys
was
say.
saying-
That's what she said. Damn it! You had
I
your
only do that to- I-
opportunity.
I only do that to Rhino. I only do that to Rhino just because it's fun. But yeah, I was just saying, Mando, don't worry. I've met a lot of celebrities.
Damn it, I walked in.
Yeah. Mando, I've met a lot of celebrities. I'm not going to name them on a stream. I'll talk about it backstage because I don't want to kind of dox myself for the people I've been around.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
So
I don't blame you there. And the only reason I have no qualms about stating that one with no real reservations,
Mhm.
even with as small as the Army is, as long ago as that was, that he was still the Sergeant Major of the Army, and the very unusual circumstances that we met under, there's no way anyone but maybe 4 people know about it. And I can all but guarantee you none of them are listening in on this.
You know what I was curious about? So Shinobi One just showed up. How are you, sir? I'm wondering what's going on down under, down there in like
Yeah.
Australia and New Zealand. Are they having similar? Is it the same things kind of going on that we're seeing across the world? Like who's invading them? Right? Because it seems like every Western country is getting invaded by some fucking third world shit.
Shinwon, greetings.
Jay, is that you?
it sounds like
that's
it.
it.
So,
Shinobi.
Shinobi,
Third
just give
world
it a quick.
shithole, aka Asia.
Yeah. Well, like, where? Like Malaysia and those areas? I'm not sure where. I know they're getting invaded, but I'm not sure how bad it is down there yet.
Oh God, people can hear me now. Shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
Sorry, Billy.
No worries. That's what happened to Senna. He died in a Mola circuit. I thought it was somewhere different, but that's all right. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. So I since that woman got voted out, or did she leave? The one in New Zealand, Giselle wasn't her name or something like that. I don't know, that horse tooth looking fucking chick.
I thought she was still in power.
Oh no, she either stepped out or she fucking got voted out. Jacinda, I think was her name or some shit.
Oh yeah.
Remember, she was the one that was like,
Yeah.
"You're all gonna take the shot, or I'm gonna put you in the jail." Eh? Jacinda Dern, yeah, that twat.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
If she's Aussie, why are you giving her a Cockney accent?
That was my really.
Yeah.
Well, she wasn't Aussie. She was New Zealand. New Zealand has a slightly different accent. And I'm just completely fucking it up. I know. It's terrible.
Yo, the good Reverend's in the chat. What's up, Reverend 20 Piece? I ain't seen you in a minute.
Okay, Shinobi has this to say. He is saying immigration is our invader like everywhere else. 70,000 per year. Have to be a millionaire or own a business. Of course, our local pop doesn't want to do the jobs they pay phone call. Jacinda Horseface left because we wood chipped.
Before we wood chicked. So,
Yeah, totally.
so it
I know.
sounds like they were right on the edge of taking some French legal action.
I know. I'm sorry, Shinobi. I was I was being stupid. I've done this a couple times tonight, just saying stupid shit. So you're just joining.
We all
us
have those
now.
nights. We all have those nights.
I've had a couple of those tonight.
That's okay.
Put another strip on the bobby there. Yeah.
We all have moments.
That was
We don't live
terrible.
that way.
Terrible. I'm sorry. It's terrible. It wasn't even a good Aussie accent.
Terrible.
Just remember, man, we have moments like that. We don't live like that. Some people live like that.
Yeah.
Not to mention Joe Biden by name on that one. Oh, my bad.
Well, all right. I had the idea earlier today, and let's see if we can't
That'd be so annoying.
see how far this circulates. You guys are all familiar with the good old fashioned classic American sloppy Joe sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Why don't we just start calling it the Biden sandwich?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm literally watching Bob Ross right now.
okay. Crusader,
Biden
Yes?
sandwich.
I posted something in memes earlier today. I think it might have been in both, but
I'm
I know
Canadian
I put
and I agree with that.
You know,
It seemed to be a bit of a delay, Jay, just so you know.
as
Yeah.
Go ahead,
As,
Amanda.
as of now,
Yeah,
Jill Biden and Jackie Kennedy have something in
I'm
common.
Canadian and I agree with that.
What's that, Amanda?
They're both trying to keep their husband's scrambled brains together.
You're not wrong.
Dun, dun.
Except where I am, because that joke is kind of wrong.
I see no problem with it.
I thought you were going to go with Hunter's demise, but
No, I'm not going to go after Hunter. He's too much low hanging fruit.
So in New Zealand, they put another hobbit on the barbecue.
Well, all right. I got to. Here's one thing that with the cadaver in chief, so to speak,
Kamala
or
would fit right in.
the crypt keeper in the White House. Everybody thinks that the Parkinson's doctor or the neurologist is there to visit Sloppy Joe. If you know anything about neurology, if you have any basic understanding of neurochemical effects of illicit substances, usually most people who dabble in nose candy or things like that tend to have a problem with their dopamine receptors. What if, theoretically, in my humble opinion, what if the doctor's there to visit somebody else due to neurological complications?
Oh,
Yep, I get it.
You mean the one who does the other half of Pop's Meth and Dicks?
Yeah, it has to do with neuroplasty.
Yep.
Dopamine on the effect of plasticity to the human brain.
you're totally cutting in and out, Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you
I
seen
wasn't
the MRI images of chronic nose candy users?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they can attest to this. It's spotty, and that's bad.
Very.
Because when you see black spots on an MRI, you should not see black spots unless they are outlining, was it sections or sectors of the brain?
Yeah. Well, depends on how bad it is.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Shinobi's saying Biden should walk out to his next debate.
Isn't it supposed to be like comparing like slush to Jello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good comparison.
So Shinobi once said Biden should walk out on his next debate to the theme tune of Afromans because Hunter got high. I don't think there's going to be a next debate, even though he said he's going to do it. He did so much damage on it this last debate. I don't think there's going to be another one. I really don't.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm going to say probably another week, maybe 2 weeks, if he doesn't willingly step down. And when the Dems start realizing the amount of financial damage that his presence is causing, Kamala's going to put it in a attempt to do the 25th Amendment.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure where this is going to go because
I could. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, fucking Jill, she ain't giving up, man. I honestly, I tend to think that she's the president right now. I think we got an Edith Wilson situation going on. I'm not kidding.
About to say, kind of like the Mrs. Wilson situation where
I really think that she's running the country.
I don't disagree with him. I do not disagree with what you're saying at all. My whole
Yeah, but
thing
who's
is
she getting her orders from, right?
well, I'm not even going to touch. I'm not even going there right now. I'm not even going to touch that one with the 10-meter pole, or to put it in terms that this community would find more appropriate. I'm not touching that one with Hunter's poll and Biden push it.
Right.
But here's the thing, though. Even if Joey Boy isn't the one actually running the show, administratively, he's the one in charge. Which means that if the cabinet decides, we need to go ahead and do the 25th Amendment because everyone down the ticket is going to get their clocks cleaned. Had to rephrase that.
Yeah.
Jill's not going to have a say in the matter.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
And honestly, that's going to say more than anything
No.
who's really been running the show if they do that and she comes out swinging.
Hmm.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me in the next 60 days if we see a small conglomerate of cabinet members saying one thing to get someone to calm down, and behind the scenes them working the cabinet for the 25th Amendment and trying to pick and choose who will either succeed the administration in other ways, shapes, or forms, or the political posturing within the party to be able to make sure that people land in cushy positions. That would be number one. I could very likely see that happen in the next 60 days. The other thing that I could see happening, which would be completely devastating to the party, where I'm trying to comprehend the fallout, would be if some of the left-leaning individuals and staunch advocates for Sloppy Joe start to turn the tables and start being willing to quit stonewalling and Russian force and impeachment on some of the more serious allegations, which then, if he doesn't want to play a game with the 25th, they will force him out on something.
Well, the thing is, we've only got about 100 days till the election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd roll right down to
Go on.
it'd boil right down to incompetency, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't
It would.
be a matter of who done what where.
No, but that would be the way. Either it's the 25th Amendment to bump him out, or what they would, if he doesn't go quiet, if he throws up a fit about the 25th and tries to throw a fit about that, they could realistically go to the Republican Party and say, hey, we will sign on impeachment. We will agree to charge X, Y, and Z to get it, because once he's been impeached,
Oh yeah.
they will throw him out of office, and then they can play the card game of, well, he's been impeached, we can't reelect an impeached incumbent. There's two options on that.
Yep. That's kind of one of the things
Yeah,
I
they
see
throw in a
happening as well.
They throw in a stalemate, right?
Yeah,
Well, and
they're stuck.
Well, the thing is, they kind of have to do this, I'm going to say, within the next 20 days.
Yep.
Because when is the Democrat convention?
I think it's next week or in 2 weeks.
Okay, so let's say hypothetically it's next week, just to go with the more tight timetable.
Mhm.
They have to get him out of that position
Come on, come on, guys.
to
They have to
I'm
do that to have an
Canadian.
open convention.
You got to keep up on this
Yeah.
shit.
But the thing is, Biden, he can't win at this point. Even if they try massive voter fraud, they're going to get their butts handed to them in a way that hasn't been seen since Reagan and Dukakis.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I don't even know if
Yeah.
he'll win one state.
It's
At this
beyond
point.
that. I don't think he
Oh,
can
I
protect
can-
his predecessor at this point.
I can guarantee you they're going to win Californication and they're going to win Hawaii.
Yep.
Only because of the fact that from all the data that I've seen, I don't think there's a Republican that managed to get on the ballot in either of those states.
Yeah. Well, he'll win the deep blue stuff, of course. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
even
but after
when-
you said that sounded really disgusting.
Even when Nixon ran
After
and had a
everybody
landslide and had 49
donated,
states.
if you follow the list,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nixon, I think, got 48 or 49 out of 50 states. And Hawaii, I think, was the one standout.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see that, but I could also see them. I mean, everything that they've tried to pin on Trump only makes it when they start digging into it and start looking into it, it looks like nothing more than political interference and lawfare,
Yep.
which is
Whether-
doing nothing but sinking judges.
Yep. Which honestly is just strengthening any case against the current incumbent, because
Right.
if they were to start doing an actual competent investigation, the stuff has been open and out there.
Uh-huh.
They haven't even tried to hide it.
Well, the media had for about a year and a half.
I'm not talking about his incompetency. I'm talking about his criminal acts.
Well, that too.
Hmm.
I mean, they've covered up all of it.
Touche.
Um,
Touche.
I mean, they have. And the one thing that I'm interested to see is those 51 or 52 intelligence officials. If Trump gets in, because they're former intel officials, those guys retain their security clearances. He can come in as the new executive and revoke their security clearances.
This might be out of the scope of what Billy's aiming to do for tonight. But
Yeah.
honestly, when the new president comes in, and I don't care if it's a D after the name or an R after the name, everyone at senior leadership levels that
Done.
isn't going to have an immediate life or death impact on operations needs to have their clearance revoked and reissued after a new investigation.
Yeah.
Every single one, including Congress.
I would agree.
Yeah.
So
And that's my happy thought.
actually, you know what
We thought.
you know what I'm interested in. I know Pop mentioned it recently. Is his whole 36-38 thing. I'm waiting to see like what's that all about.
He's been mentioning that for a number of years.
I know, but he mentioned recently that one of the fans, put together something that kind of correlates the 36-38 thing. I'm interested in what that is all about.
I don't know what it is that the fans submitted, but I've been thinking about that and looking
Sounds
at a
like
lot of
target coordinates, to be perfectly honest.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I've been thinking about that for a
I
while.
have
and I've
no
been looking at a
experience
lot of the-
whatsoever, but
Is that referring to acts in the Bible?
No,
Don't know. He just has this thing where he keeps getting these numbers and
Yeah.
it's at 36-38.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, the recurring
that's what I was
numbers.
thinking
Okay.
personally.
Now
But
I
I
now
don't
I
have any
remember.
experience with it, so
okay. Here is what my guesstimate is, having been looking at multiple maps and polls that have been coming out. The 36 to 38 might be number of states that are guaranteed to go towards the opposite party.
I don't know. Don't know.
Because
Maybe.
the thing is, if you look at the way the Electoral College is put together, aside from like New York and California, if you get that many states, you're pretty much guaranteed a win.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Even if you lose those two states.
yeah, it could be something as stupid as a turning point too, right? It doesn't have to be a catastrophic event.
Right.
Well, with that, what are you guys doing for the summer? Let's go around the room. What are you doing for fun?
I'm going to keep living the dream.
Cool. Because we're going to wrap this up. So,
Yep.
How about you, Outlaw? He is muted.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah.
No, no worries.
What was we talking about? Sorry about that.
No worries. The question was, what are you doing for fun this summer? Because we're wrapping it up. So, if this is the last summer you got, what are you doing for
we're supposed to be moving to the property, so
Oh, cool.
yeah, whenever that gets underway. But yeah, once we get up there, we'll start trying to get a garden going.
Nice.
Start trying to put some food back.
I focused on tomatoes this year, and they are fucking popping for me. So
Nice.
I'd say,
Like they did in 20?
yeah. So I'd say focus on what'll grow good for you there, Outlaw.
Well, part of the work here is I'd like to get the guys together. We still got that work that we're trying to put together getting a bunch of guys that know what they're talking about growing gardens and how to craft beer and slaughter cattle and all that good stuff. Give these guys some skills
Yeah.
going forward.
Cool.
How to build, how to do all this stuff. So that's still in the works.
All right. We look forward to seeing those videos if you put them out.
Heck yeah.
All right. Mando, doing anything fun?
Well, at the end of this month, I'm taking the first vacation I've taken in 5 years.
There you go.
Now,
All
granted, I'm not going anywhere,
Doesn't matter.
but all I'm planning to do is hang out at one of the local hobby shops that I like to do stuff with, and maybe get some of my pile of shame whittled away.
Cool.
Heck yeah.
How about you, Sean?
Actually, no plans. Just to not add to the population, not take away from it. I guess maybe the only plan I got is to get a bunch more totes to put all my mom's property away in somewhat ordered fashion, instead of my garage being a congested mess.
Gotcha. Cool. Jay, what you got going on? Anything? Got a bit of a delay. I'm transmitting to Mars right now.
If you can't build it, grow it,
All right.
and vice versa. Screw everything else. It's just temporary.
Cool. All right.
Well, not literally,
Yeah.
but
No.
no.
I like the delay. it's like we're talking to the moon. You got that couple second delay. All right. So with that, I'm going to put up. This is that link to Ike's show, which is already in progress. Sorry if I'm taking away viewers from you, Ike, but it is what it is. As for me, what am I doing this summer? I'm going away for business next week, but you guys probably won't even realize because I'll just put up some videos that I'll make this week. And I'll do my trip, and this is the last trip I'm doing for the foreseeable future because I don't want to be traveling when it gets closer to the election. I'm also this week I'm going kayaking of all things. Friends.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
He said, let's go kayaking. And I'm like, I don't have a kayak. He's like, I got a spare one. I'm like, all right, we'll go kayaking. Why not?
How's that going to work with the helmet?
We gotta have your helmet, I don't want to damage my head on the water.
Well, it's not like I have room to talk given my avatar.
Yeah, there you go.
You better have a GoPro helmet mount.
Yeah. I don't know. Somebody's driving a fucking truck up my street here. So I don't know if you guys can hear the fucking reversing down the
Oh,
street.
yeah, we
Yeah.
can.
Beep,
Oh,
beep, beep.
I thought that was just blocking out your profanity.
No, I don't know. It's like 11:30 at night. I don't know who the fuck's backing up the fucking in a truck on my street at this time of night.
Pops X allegedly.
Oh. Hold on. It could be an ambulance. I have an elderly.
Yeah, they have
Oh.
back.
Hopefully not.
No.
Yeah, hopefully not. Okay.
Tow truck. One of my neighbor's cars is looks like brought to somewhere. Picked up by the tow truck.
Oh, probably a repo.
Probably not.
Oh, maybe.
Never know.
That's happening these days. People, I saw this video of it was somebody going around like asking people their car payments. I can't believe the amount of how much people are paying on their car.
More than the mortgage.
Over $1,000. I'm like, are you people fucking stupid? But people are.
If I had the funding to do it, I know what kind of business I'd start. Repo
Right.
Depot.
Yeah. Well, some of those repo videos are pretty wild.
They're going to have
no, I've seen a few
a
of
lot
them.
of business in the foreseeable future.
Hell yeah.
I
I
don't
got two
know if
buddies.
I-
And I got two buddies that are in auto recovery, and both of them have been shot at least 2 or 3 times on 2 or 3 different occasions.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a rough
bear in
business.
mind, I was just making a joke.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to
It's
put
funny.
you guys in the backstage if you want to hang for a little bit after.
Yeah.
I'm going to play. I'm going to play my latest song. I'll take that off. That isn't really making the rounds because they got me fucking suppressed. So if I wasn't suppressed, I think this song would have done much better. But only my most loyal viewers have seen this song. I've listened to this song, and I made it with. I actually wrote all the lyrics, but I had AI make the song for me. And I did a couple songs recently. I did actually a whole album, Catland the Musical, and I wrote all the songs for it. And now I don't know what to do with it. Some of the songs are really good, I think. And I'm deciding what I'm going to do with that whole Catland the Musical. But I think you guys, if you haven't heard this song, I think you'll like it. And yeah, I don't really have anything for you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And do something this summer. Go do something this weekend. Have fun if you can. Just do something out of the normal that you don't normally do because you never know. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed for you. So might as well live life. And don't always be worrying about the future because the future will come whether you worry about it or not. So have a great rest of your week, guys. Have a great weekend coming up. And I'll see you again soon. Take care. Have a good night.
When you feel hard, think you're feeling dry, and don't know what you need, so just give it a try. And let's clear our throats and get ready to swing to everybody now. Hot tour on that thing. Hot tour on that thing. Come on, do it swing. Hot tour on that thing. So ready to swing. When you feel that tickle on your fingering, now hold it back now. Hot tour on that thing. Sneaky comes out of the blue, you try to fight it, but it's coming through. No need to hide it. Let your film take wing, just let it out now. Hot tour on that thing. Hot tour on that thing. Come on, do it swing. Hot tour on that thing. So ready to swing. When it's stuck inside you like a song to sing, just let it out now. Hot tour on that thing. Hot tour now. Clear your throat, let it flow like a fart, let it go. Make it loud, make it proud. Do it now. Do it now. Hot tour on that thing. Right on the ding-a-ling. Hot tour on that thing. So ready to swing. When you see me feel like a bird on wings. Just one more time now. Hot tour on that thing. When you feel that rumble and you hear it ring, so wait a moment. Hot tour on that thing.